Hello everybody, AJ Ryzik here. Today we're going to do a little video tutorial. This is a beginner's guide to OpenTTD. Specifically what I'm going to be showing is how to, not necessarily the right way, but the way that I go about getting my game started, as far as, let's start getting some money in my pocket so that my company can start growing and we can expand our little empire here. It's definitely not the only way to go. There's all kinds of different strategies, and if you cruise around on the internet, you will find all kinds of different methods for getting a good game started. But this is how I do it, and you know uh, at least it works for me. Let's put it that way. If you got another idea, something that works really well for you, be sure to leave comments down below, and let's let everybody know. And you may be able to give me some ideas on stuff that I haven't thought of. Anyway, let's get this game started here. And I'm just going to do a random map here. I've got it set for map size 512 by 512. The stock January 1st, 1950 starting date. This is in the temperate climate. Medium river, smoothness is set at smooth. I'm going to take the industries, it's set at high now. I'm going to take it down to normal. Sea level's fine, tree algorithm fine. All that stuff looks fine. So let's generate our map here. Usually the first thing I do, I'll pause the game and kind of scroll out so I can get an overview. Now you can also go and pull up your map here, and so you can give yourself an overview of everything. But typically what I'm going to look for, I'm a big fan of using coal to start everything out, because you get a really nice return on coal. And the other nice thing about coal is, over long distances, you don't lose a lot of revenue because of the amount of time that it takes to get from your coal mine to your power plant. So just kind of looking here, we've got a couple of possibilities just right here, not only for coal but for a couple of other things as well. Now here is one possibility right here, and granted the distances aren't that great, but we could probably do pretty well with coal here. If you look at my cursor, you can see there's got two coal mines there and then a power plant over here. That would probably do pretty nicely. So let's do that. So I'm going to go and let's do some railroad construction. And I've got, normally I set it for 2 tracks, and platform length of 4 is just fine for what we're going to do here. Let me zoom in a little closer. Oh, and let's unpause it because you can't build anything when you're paused. So I'm going to put that right there. And whenever possible, I try to stay in as straight a lines as possible. That's not always 100% possible, but whenever possible, try to minimize the number of bends. And the same thing with your going up and down, your elevation changes, because those will slow down your trains. Now at the beginning of the game, you don't have a whole lot of cash to work with, even if you do get like the maximum loan. So I don't worry too much about flattening the land. Put that right there. Alright, so I've got my stations between these two coal mines and then this power plant here. Now I'm going to just basically connect the dots with the railroad line, and I typically, I mean, you can go and select the different angles and straight pieces and whatnot. I always use this auto tool. To me, that just works out the best, I think, after you get the hang of using it, at least. So we've got our first one there. You see, you get this little ridge right here. That won't be too expensive to flatten out, so I'm going to do that. There we go. Like I said, at these early stages of the game, I'm usually not too concerned with the flatness. But when it's something small like that, you know, no big deal to fix that. Okay, so we've got one line running like that. Now that's good enough for running one train back and forth. However, if you want to run multiple trains, there's a couple different ways you can do that, and you know, there's multiple tutorials online for the signals and you know, switching tracks and all that kind of stuff. But kind of an easy way to be able to do this is out the back side of our station. Basically, I'm going to make a loop. Clean this up a little bit. All right. And then after you've kind of looped around, you know, you can make it so that you can come right back onto that same track again. And by kind of leaving some extra space right here, it leaves you open the option for later on if you want to, you know, bring some trains over in this area, which you may want to do. And pretty much on this end, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Alright. Okay, so we got that built. So let's get our, oh, we do need our depot. So let's put the depot on there. Just put them right there. All right, so let's get some trains and get a new vehicle. Now, you see, to start out with, you get these 3 vehicles right here, or 3 steam engines. Typically, I do not take this first, the Kirby Paul tank, that one right there. I usually go for this one right here as my starting engine, just because this one right here, you know, even though you kind of double your money to go to this one, it is almost twice the speed. But going up to this one here, you've only added 10 miles to 10 miles an hour. Then it's like another 15,000. A little farther into the game, different story. But for right now, I'll just stick with this one. Like I said, it's kind of middle of the road. And then let's get us some coal cars. Now I've added some extra what they call them, GFRs, extra graphics and whatnot, some extensions. So my coal cars are called bulk wagons. But I mean, basically, so we're going to get some coal cars here. And I'll give us, there we go, we got 5 coal cars right there. And there's differing views of thought on your train length. There's some people that advocate going with really short trains, just because they can go a lot faster and it takes less time to load and unload. Other people advocate the long ones because you can haul more with one given train. So like I said, 2 different methods of thought there, and I guess depending on the situation, one will work better than the rest. But for now, this is what we're going to work with. So let's do our orders here. And like I said, for right now, we're just running 1 train. So make this easy. We're going to start here at this one. We'll then go to here. And then end up down here. And then after running all that, is going to run those again. But I usually order it like once per loop, per cycle, whatever you want to say, to go back to the train depot for repairs. And at least to me, adding in a requirement to stop in for repairs, the time lost by doing that is nothing compared to breakdown. So I always just go ahead and add it into the orders. So all that's done, and let's fire this bad boy up. And I'll even put it into high speed there so we can watch it go. Makes a stop, makes the first one, second one, third. And as you can see right now, it's not using the loops. And actually, I forgot to put in the crossover down on this end. Like I said, right now, since it's only 1 train, not a big deal. But later on, when I get more trains operating on the same line, it will be a big deal. And I'll also need signals at that point also. Generally, what I will do at that point is each of these loops on the end, for the most part, I'll make them so there are one way only. Same thing down on this end. And then basically this section right here, where we have 2 side-by-side tracks, we'll make it so that only 1 train can be in each of those at any given time. Here, let me close that up. Let's take a look, see. And as you can see, we've already loaded up on some coal. And the nice thing about this, going this method here, is, you know, you've got two coal plants feeding into, or two coal mines feeding into this one power plant. So, you know, let's say one of them is running low on coal, doesn't have a big supply of coal. Okay, well then you can still be able to fill up at the other one. And it'll help keep you supplied on coal. Let's just kind of watch this when it comes in and see what we get out of per load. Oh, I had it going too fast. Let's see what we made. Yeah, so basically per haul you're making approximately 10 grand per haul on this, so not bad. So that's kind of my method for getting started with the railroad. Let's pause this here and take a look, and let me see if I can find something where I can show you how to get started with some trucking, because that's another thing that I like to do. Well, and while we're on the subject, something else that I do at the beginning, typically on for not every town, but towns that I want to develop, I will come in and put in a bus line for them. And it doesn't have to be real big and fancy. You don't need a lot of buses. Basically, maybe just like one per town. Now, in something like this, where I've got this this Trairborn, I guess is how you pronounce it, Trairborn Cross and Beddinghead, I will do something where, well, here I'll just kind of demo it for you. So let's open up the road construction, and I'm going to want, first we're going to want a depot, and oh, this is good enough spot. Oh yeah, I can't be paused to build. Keep forgetting that. Okay, so let's put that one there, and then let's go to my bus depots. And I personally, I like the flow through ones, if the town allows for it, if it's set up correctly. You can't always pull that off though. So, but anyway, let's see. Oh, I picked truck station. Let's try this again and get the bus station. Okay. So let's put one out here maybe, and let's try one here. Now in the neighboring town, we'll also put one here, and let's do a flow through here, just like that. Okay, so after that gets done, now kind of my next strategy is to actually add some roads for them. And the reason is it will help the town out with growing, because basically they don't have to build the roads now. But I go and try to get at least that initial bus station and depot in place, or bus garage in this case. And the reason is when you guys start building roads and tearing stuff up in the towns, sometimes they get a little ticked off at you and then won't let you build. And so that's just kind of my safeguard, so I don't run into that. But by building up the roads around the town a little bit, it makes it a little more likely that these towns are going to build up. And of course, the bigger the population, the more travel is going to take place, which means more money for you. Okay, so I got those built. Let's get some buses. So we get a new vehicle, Regal bus, buy vehicle. And I'll make my first route. And since I got two towns together, I'll kind of maybe I'll do two buses then. So we'll start out down here, and then basically go to the other end of town, and when they're done with that, back to the depot for repairs. Let's fire that guy up. And then we'll make another bus. And this guy we'll run him from this end all the way over to the next town, then back to the bus depot. And that's it. And there are times that you won't make much of a profit, especially early on with these buses. But the point here is to get the towns growing so that you can get the population up. Once the population gets up, you'll be able to make pretty good coin off of transportation. And once the town gets pretty big, at that point, it's worth your while to bring the trains in or airports for moving people around. And as you see, we're back here with our trains, and you can see we're still running back and forth with coal. And we're about halfway through the year now, and we've made roughly 18,000 bucks on coal. So it's, the coal is fairly profitable, especially early on. All right, now here's an example where trucking would work out better than the trains, at least from the standpoint of getting materials to your factory and excuse me, for early in the game is a nice constant revenue stream here. As you can see, we've got a factory right here, and we've got two farms. Each are not too far away, so shorter distances, your trucking tends to be more economical. So let me set up some loops here, and I'll show you how I like to set them up so that you can avoid traffic jams. So let's go and we'll open up our tool, and let's do our truck stops. And now we're basically going to have both this farm and this farm feeding into this factory here. So what I will do is, let's go and open up this here. We'll make actually, you know what, first I'm going to go and level the ground just a bit right over here. Oh yeah, can't have it paused. I always forget that. Oop, I didn't want to go that high. There we go. That's pretty level there. Some nice nice open area. And as they say, there's a method to my madness. Okay, let's make our truck stations here. And when I'm doing the trucking, for the most part, unless there's nowhere to pull it off, I always go for the flow through type. And as I said, there's a method to my madness. Okay, so we're going to have 3 there. let's put 2 over here, 2 over here. And with the roads, I typically go, excuse me, I typically make them one way, at least a large part of it one way. And you'll kind of see in a minute why I do that. So basically, okay, let's say that we've got a truck. It pulls up here, fills up on grain or cattle, whatever. Okay, so after it gets at it, comes on over this way, and then it'll come into here to unload. So what I'm going to do, so basically what had happened is, okay, so he leaves here, comes over, and now he can pull into any of these 3 stations, and I'm going to make each of these one way, and I'll go ahead and I'll put that in there now so you can see that. So each of those is one way, so we're not going to have trucks pulling in and turning around and whatnot, and that'll make it flow through that area very nicely. There we go. And then the same thing over on this end. I want them coming out that side of things. There we go. Alright, and okay. So after he flows through there, we can come back on over this way, and I will just bring it up like this to complete the loop. And we'll basically do the same thing over here. So on this side, he would, let's say, come through. Well, let me go and put my arrows in now. So you start in here, come out on this side. There we go. You come around, come in through there, and boom, that's, and as they say, that's all she wrote. There we go. And so let's build our little road station here. And probably so that I can minimize driving distances a little bit, I'll put 2 in. 1 for each side. Alright, so on this side, let's build. So we're going to need a livestock van, and we'll need a grain truck. So this guy's going to go from here, pull in there, and then there. That's my loop. And then we'll give road vehicle 1 basically the same orders. Go here, pull on the station, and then back to here. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. And just to save a little time, I'm going to pause the video so you don't have to watch all that. Alright, so I got that built, and as you can see, we got one grain truck and one livestock truck going from each of those farms, all of it feeding into this factory right here. And what I will do at the beginning, I've got one of each type of truck at each farm, and then I will just watch my supply and whatnot to see if is it worth my while to go with more than one truck. Now, usually at the very beginning it is, because they've usually got quite a stockpile. But then, keep an eye on it, and if it starts dropping to the point where they're either not hauling full loads or whatnot, then I will go and either sell trucks or do whatever I need to do so that I can make sure these things are running as efficiently as possible. But I mean, that's the basics of what of getting your economy started there. This kind of thing right here that I'm showing, it works great for when you've got short distances to run. I stick with the trucks for short distances, trains for the longer distances. Of course, also airports are good for long distance, at least for passengers. The water is good for transportation for long distances, also assuming that you have the water available, but you don't always have that. And well, that about finishes up this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a big old thumbs up, leave comments, questions, all that kind of stuff down below. Because if you've got other tips, hey, let's share them to the community and spread the information. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you on the next video.